Hello and welcome to the GBC. I am your host, Nash Kohlberg. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Peyton, Jared, and EJ from Black Kanyon. These guys are the brains and power behind Black Kanyon, and we are super happy to have you guys on. Thank you.
Thanks.
To be here.
Good to see you,
Yes.
Nash.
So we start every GBC episode off with a 5-question rapid-fire quiz. It's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but better because today we have $50 stone cold cash on the line. If you can get 4 out of 5 correct, it's a good way to break the ice and kind of get the juices flowing. So, are you guys ready?
Hit us.
Sure,
Jared is. He's good at competitions.
Good. Well, I did hear from a bird in the sky some of your interests. So, if they're not related questions at all, don't blame me. Question number 1: what is the tallest type of tree in the world? Tallest type.
Redwood. Yeah, redwood.
Redwood?
Yeah.
Correct. 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Starting off strong. Question number 2.
Wait, is this a competition between us three? Or
No, you're a group.
We're all
You're a
okay.
team.
Oh,
You're a team.
okay.
You're a team.
Way to go, Jared.
Question number 2. Who is the one player who won NBA Finals MVP on the losing team?
Leave that one to Jared.
One NBA
The one player
Finals MVP on
What's
the losing
NBA?
team.
on the losing team. It was
Boy.
back in the 50s.
Oh,
Give me a
geez.
hint.
Back in the 50s?
2 of the
That's the year you were
best
born?
teams.
Um,
You want one more hint?
Jerry West.
Jerry West, correct. 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Number 3, maybe a little harder, maybe not. What style of hunting is used by training birds of prey to hunt? What is that style of hunting called? Training
think I
birds
know.
of prey to hunt.
Go for it.
Falconry?
Falconry, 3 for 3. Only you need to get one more correct, and you guys are in it. Question number 4. The oldest tree ever. Is it more or less than 5,000 years old?
That's what I would say.
More.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Historians estimate it to be 9,000 years old. So, pretty
Did
crazy.
someone tell you we were interested in trees?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Are we?
I don't know.
You are. Every time we fly, you're like, oh, those trees. Okay.
And then the last question. If someone has a large piece of real estate, business, or opportunity for sale, who should they get a hold of?
Nash Goldberg.
No.
Berkshire.
Maybe. That's a good second answer. That's a second.
We could probably
Come
go
on.
with Black Canyon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Should we go with that?
Correct. Black Kanyon. All right. You guys won. We'll give you your money after. So, for those who don't know what Black Kanyon is and what they do, Black Kanyon's private equity. Can you explain what that is, what that means to the viewers, and what you do?
Jared?
Dad, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, we're an acquisitions company. When a lot of people hear the term private equity, they think outside capital, pooling capital. We've done some of that, but we try to roll our own and try to get creative with things. In relation to what is commonly known as private equity, I mean, yeah, we're private equity, but we're not the typical private equity company. Just because kind of how we operate. Basically, we pool internal capital, we get creative with sellers, we do some creative financing, and we go buy acquisitions. We buy real estate, we buy companies, and then we value add from there. And that's, in the broadest sense, what private equity is. But we're a little bit different than what kind of mainstream private equity is.
Sure.
We found we like to look for assets that have value to be added to them. So we're not looking for market appreciation or just getting a good buy. We like to get the good buy, in implement a strategy to make the property or the asset worth more.
Sure.
And then capitalize on that versus just holding and letting it ride for a long period of time. We kind of like to turn things fast.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of private equity too will have like maybe certain investor. What? No, I don't even know how to say it.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Would have certain investor expectations, so they might have to have a certain exit plan. Or
Sure.
and we typically don't structure our deals that way, so we're just long-term holders of these companies. You know.
Sure.
People ask us quite a bit, what's your investment strategy on this? How long are you holding it? We said, I don't know. We're opportunistic. We'll buy stuff, and a lot of times we're like, I will probably hold it 2, 3, 4 years, and then we'll hold it 6 months and sell it. You know, so we can do whatever is the best decision for us. We don't necessarily always have to worry about the investors. Sometimes when we do have investors, we do, but it's nice to be opportunistic.
Right. Kind of be able to make your own choices there.
Yeah, and a lot of times in private equity, the driver of the strategy for the asset is investor returns and shareholder returns or whatever. So we try to stay away from that because we don't want to be controlled or dictated by getting a certain return for a certain investor and doing what we got to do for that. I mean, we got more flexibility built into our model.
Sure. Okay. How did you guys, let's bring it back to the beginning, the start. How did this whole thing start from the day one, not even an idea, and then it evolved into what is today?
Started with a trailer house, I guess.
Yep.
One trailer.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear about it.
About as simple as that. Buy one trailer house. Then move to a fourplex and another fourplex, and then started buying 8-unit apartment buildings and kind of just selling them as we went.
Yeah, why don't you tell them, because I have a perspective from being Peyton's private attorney while he was scaling up. You tell him, and I'll tell that after he tells his story. Like, tell your perspective as to why the trailer house and why you scaled up and why you were doing those things.
Yeah. So the trailer house, I mean, it's kind of just an opportunity that fell on my lap a little bit. My cousin owned it. And so it's for like $9,000 or something. Bought that, rented it out, fixed it up a little bit. And then I started cold calling just apartment owners and came across a fourplex and bought that. Got creative with the seller a little bit and then sold the trailer house a few years later and bought another fourplex with that. Then just started doing some more creative stuff, seller carrybacks, fully funding the deal for the most part, so I didn't have that much equity into some of these original deals. And then we ended up selling some of the smaller stuff and put that back in and bought bigger stuff and just kind of snowballed over the years until we were buying a lot larger assets. And so that was about 2013. Bought the first trailer and then kept building it to what it is today, I guess.
And all of those were value add?
Yeah, for the most part, they're all value add. You know, something rents need pushed or, different repairs or landscaping is a big one. You know, people overlook that and they kind of look trashy. And so.
Yeah, and then from my perspective at the time, 2013, I had my private practice in Brookings. And I remember when Peyton and his wife came in and signed the papers on the trailer house, and it was just another transaction. And then over the course of the next several years, he would come back in with, other apartment buildings, other real estate, and I was just purely transactional at that point, just helping him with the purchase agreements and structuring that way and things like that. And then saw him build a nice portfolio. And at the time, I was just, like I said, purely transactional, wasn't really involved in the finances of it. Didn't honestly fully understand the finances of it and the value add and the cap rates and the NOIs and all that. I was just a transactional attorney, but it really interested me. And then it was at 2020 when you were looking at Mankato, probably 2020-ish. And up to that point, it was, you $1 to $2 million deals. And then he came to me with it was like $11.5 million deal in Mankato, which was a pretty big jump at that time. And so then we got a little bit more serious, and that's when he approached me about, potentially coming on full time and helping scale up. And so one thing led to another, and it'll be 3 years in December since I've been here full time. So
It's awesome. EJ, Where'd you come along? Where did you fit in this story?
Yeah. So, I've kind of, I started my career at Hamlin Building Center, started sweeping the floors and working there, and kind of worked my way up through high school and college. And Hamlin Building Center runs off of EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, just a business model to run your business. And Peyton ran off the same, and we had the same implementer, so basically business coach.
Sure.
Kyle Kangas, and Kyle connected Peyton and I. Said both a couple of young entrepreneurs, would maybe benefit from talking with one another. So kind of ironic, Peyton and I didn't know each other. We went to the same high school. We were a few years apart though, so just never really crossed paths. So we started talking, and after a while I just saw the opportunity that Peyton had over here. And yeah, I jumped on board July of 2020. And that's we transitioned kind of into the private equity company then, had an agriculture business, got out of that, bought out the partners in real estate, and we were just fully into real estate by the end of the year. That was another kind of fun deal. At the end of that year, we bought a 145 unit in Alliance, Nebraska, and that was kind of like the transition to supporting, our company just with the number of units we had. So it was we jumped into that, and then the next deal was Mankato. So we went from like a $2.5 million deal to 11.5, and so it's just we've tried to keep scaling up like that.
Sure. So what year was the trailer house in? When did that start?
Yeah, that was in 2013.
Okay, so 2013 to 2020. 2020 is kind of when this became a full-time, full-on company.
Yeah, the real estate was kind of just a side project until 2020, probably.
You had a partner, and probably started in 2018. You got a little serious and started buying mostly 19 in 20, and then bought out the partner at middle of 2020. And that was kind of the transition.
So, 3 to 4 years having a team, that's a while, but not a long time to build something like this, right? So what are the key components to that success, to being able in the last 3 to 4 years to go from now, 6 employees and a couple interns, bigger deals? What kind of things did you put in place to create that?
I would say it's probably just been, Peyton having some grit. That's one of our core values of going out and finding opportunities and, taking the step to get them done, and, just be okay with taking the risk on the deal. And, the deals have turned out amazing. I'd say that, but then also just Peyton just heavily focuses on the team. So trying to assemble the right team with the right mindset. There's really nothing that we shy away from. I don't know. We can always figure it out. So find a way to get it done. We kind of always lean into that, and don't want anything to get in our way, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'd say is coming up with core values, as silly as it sounds. Like a lot of people have core values on the walls, but finding people that actually fit those, and it's a hard task to do. I mean, you have to cycle through a few people, and you can try to do your best in hiring people, but people that align with those values and then also see the vision of where you want to go, you have to get people that want to go the same way you're going. Because if there's a paddle dragon in the water, it's going to steer it somewhere else,
How do you see that before you hire somebody? I mean,
you don't always. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard.
One thing that we do every quarter, this is obviously post-hire, but we rate everyone on the core values every quarter. We either give them a plus, minus, or minus. And we have a benchmark of 80%, 75%. And what we found is that the employees that aren't, hitting that benchmark are usually just not the fits. But everyone that, stays long-term is usually, in the 90s, hitting the core values.
How did you guys pick those core values? They're kind of unique. You have you have grit, humbly confident, fun. I'm missing one.
Team player.
Yeah. How did you pick those? What went in?
I don't really remember.
The easy answer is just through the EOS process. You got to pick core values, and so, we have different times throughout the year that we review those and brainstorm, like, what do we want these to be? And yeah, I think we've always had these. I believe we've changed like the
descriptor words a little bit.
Descriptor words. We've added hungry to one of them, and so it just they evolve a little bit, but we've been pretty consistent on them.
Yeah.
Did you guys create your process? I mean, you guys probably see, I don't know if you guys are seeing dozens or hundreds of deals in a month, a year, come across your desk, and you're obviously probably picking a very slim amount of those. Did you guys come up with your own process to figure out what's a good deal and not, or is there something you kind of base it off of? Or
We actually probably see a lot less deals than people think because we don't go the normal like broker route.
Okay.
Especially on the real estate side. It's just a lot of cold calling and cold outreach or cold emails, and so we don't actually sort through a lot of them really. Yeah.
Peyton tries to do a good job targeting
Specific ones,
specific people, and just kind of doing a little research on them before even reaching out to know, what stage of life are they in, and what are maybe their motives, and being more targeted.
And Peyton he's asked about the system. He's developed his own system with the tools he uses, and he's got it dialed in, very good. He's very good at what he does. So that's where the humble confidence comes in. He won't tell you that, but he is. And he's got a system, and he follows it to the T, and he's good at follow-up. And it's a combination of small things that are seemingly easy to do, but difficult in the grand scheme of things when you put it all together, and that's his system.
Right. Coming from real estate, I cold call some too, just in my local market, and it's fun, rewarding, and at some days super difficult, draining. How did you tips for if there are other cold callers out there, or just your experience? How did you come to like it, or if maybe you don't, or come to become better at it?
Yeah.
I mean, cold calling's for the few, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy it because, you can have people yell at you and stuff, but you ain't going to lose anything more than, you don't have it yet.
Right.
So might as well just call, It can only go one way from where you're at.
Yeah. You
started the morning with no deals or, no leads or anything. So just start calling,
Yeah.
And every time you get turned down, there's something to learn from it,
And
sometimes we have a good laugh about Sometimes we have a good laugh about it, but
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for me, from my perspective, and he's appears to be very good at it. I struggle with it some, and it's something I continue to work on. It's just fear of failure. Because you call somebody, but then what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're going to cuss you out and say, "Don't call me again." Okay, fine.
And then we get a good chuckle out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, the worst thing.
Fear.
Yeah, no fear. What's the worst that can happen? Like he said, you don't have anything to start at the start of the day, so you're not going to lose anything. So there's everything to gain and nothing to lose. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. And where are you? You guys are. What's your location that you is it Midwest, or are you going beyond that now?
Yeah, it's pretty much anywhere we can get within a day's flight or drive. So
okay,
which mostly in the Midwest for now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Goals. I mean, I know you guys are probably pretty goal driven. You can share what you want and what you don't want, but do you have goals in the next year, 5 years?
Yeah, we always set yearly goals, and then we have a 3-year picture, and then we have a 10-year BHAG, so big, hairy, audacious goal. And this would have been, what was it, 2022 probably when we set it? This is year 2. But our 10-year BHAG is $1 billion of assets under management. So it doesn't matter what it is, but under the portfolio would be $1 billion, and every year we just kind of try and work towards that.
That's the BHAG.
Yep.
The BHAG is more interesting when we add in that we want to do it with only 15 employees. So that's the most employees we ever want at Black Kanyon.
Sure.
Because we don't want to get into just a bunch of people issues. We want to keep it pretty streamlined and be able to help the companies that we buy and focus energy on them and not ourselves, you know. So
Sure.
when you couple those two together, that's kind of the point behind having a dollar amount. You know, it's less about the dollar amount and more about us focusing on the right things, you know, and improving ourselves and being more efficient and not wasting our time with things that we might have before, you know.
Sure.
So we're always, one of the metrics we track is AUM per employee. You know, so we want that to, you know, keep scaling up as we get
Right.
closer to that goal.
Cool.